Hey everybody, HeadspaceConnections back with another video. This time we're going to be talking about a disorder that you don't really hear a lot about. We're not going to be talking about the disorder specifically. This is going to be a book review about said disorder, but it's gotten a lot more acclaim and a lot more details to it within the past 20 years. But it's called, and we do have this personally, it's called Irlen syndrome. Now, the book that we're going to be reviewing today is called The Irlen Revolution, and it is actually written by the woman who, Helen Irlen. She was actually the founder and the one that discovered Irlen syndrome and how it affects people. She has written another book before called Reading by Colors. I think it was originally published sometime in the 80s or late 80s, early 90s. But this is like the second book in that, The Irlen Revolution. It's its own standalone book, but it's a guide to changing your perception and your life. The Irlen Revolution. How a simple method can change the lives of children and adults with LD, ADHD, TBI, dyslexia, autism, headaches, medical conditions, and much more. And the way we came across figuring out what Irlen syndrome was and what made us... Actually, this book, we didn't even buy it. Our screener, who tested us for Irlen syndrome, gave it to us so that we'd be able to kind of start our own reading and to getting some knowledge based on Irlen syndrome. Now, for those of you that don't know what Irlen syndrome is, it is basically a processing disorder. It's not the eyes, it's the brain, where the brain can't process certain wavelengths of light. And there is scientific proof and testing that shows, like people with DID, how certain parts of the brain will react when different alters are out. Well, this one has different scans of the brain for somebody without Irlen's, as opposed to somebody with Irlen's without any kind of special filters, where the brain is, like in a normal person, not a whole lot of reaction going on, but with somebody with Irlen syndrome and certain environments that will trigger the Irlen's to react, brain scans are shooting through the roof. So basically, like I said, Irlen syndrome is it's a processing disorder. It's based in the brain, not the eyes. A lot of people seem to have a misconception that, oh, it's your eyes. No, it's not your eyes. And what's really crazy is that while we were reading this book, it basically, you know, brings out how people can go years without even realizing they have it. Like for us, we didn't find out until earlier this year that we found out something else was wrong, and we went and got screened. The sad thing about it is that you don't find very many people that know how it is or even have the expertise to be able to screen people for it. So many children, adults, likewise, have so many problems for years and never realize it, and or don't know what's going on. But what I really liked about this book is it goes into detail about what Irlen syndrome is, how it affects the brain, what exactly are the other things that it can affect. Because really, when you go into Irlen syndrome and what it does and how it can affect, it affects a lot more than what most people would realize. Like at first, we thought, oh, maybe it's whatever. But, no, it's not. It's not whatever. There's a lot that goes into it. And for those of you that may have a family member that might have Irlen's or anything, they do have a website. Trying to think of what, IrlenInstitute.com, I think it's called. You can go on there and there's a screening page where you can actually screen yourself, like go through their questionnaire or have somebody else do it to see if they might have Irlens themselves. Now, for us personally, we are on the severe end of the spectrum. So what that basically entails is also explained in this book. It talks about real life stories of people with Irlens, how their life changed after they got the filters, how children that were suffering through so much, once they got their filters, grades take an uphill. And talks about how people can develop Irlen syndrome. Now, a lot of the times it's hereditary, so not everybody is really going to, and it's not something that's very widely known, surprisingly. I say surprising, I guess it's not that surprising considering, but most of the times how people have Irlens is it's through hereditary genetics. But there are ways that people can develop it even if they weren't born with it. Now, like I said, this talks about the different degrees of Irlens, what helps with it, what they call the Irlen method is. But basically it talks about Irlen filters, which will show you ours. These are filter screens. The one that we use is actually peach. But they have like 15 different colors on them. And you will use these, usually if you go to a screener, depends on who you go to. Our screener gave us 2 screens, so we actually have 2. One has a gloss side and a matte side. But because our case was a little more severe, we actually have to have filtered lenses too. Now, these look like sunglasses, but they're really not. They're our prescription lenses with our color filters for our set Irlen syndrome. And what this book also goes into detail about is that don't self-screen. I mean, you can do the questionnaire on their website, but go to a professional, because everybody's brain function is different. Everybody's reasons for needing them is different. You are going to want to have to see a professional. I kid you not. We were in our second screening for like 3 hours with 8 different layers of color on these. And usually they'll do 5 or 6. No, we had 8. And it took 2 or 3 hours just to get those. But really the whole details on what it is, how it affects the brain, it's just like when our diagnostician, Julie Yaxley, M.A. is her name. She's really cool. So if you guys are needing somebody and you guys are in an area, we recommend her. She was really good, and she was really good price-wise at willing to work with us on it. But we'll post her website down below if you guys are interested in learning a little more about Irlen syndrome. Sorry, camera was out of focus. Or anything like that. You can look her up. And also definitely recommend checking that out, especially if you think you might have Irlen syndrome too. I mean, like, just the amount of stuff that this can affect is just astronomical. Like, and it also has some memoirs in it about different people, different ones who did not realize they had Irlen syndrome till very older in age. I think the oldest person that they had with experience with Irlen filters was like 83. And children in school, and how much it helped them, like I said, with their grades, with their concentration. It also can affect your like attention span, your concentration, performance, depth perception, which I thought I was just clumsy. No, apparently that was an actual problem. And recommendations for like treatments, what they do, how they go about it. and other resources involved. Like, and also talks about how Irlen's affects people with ADD, ADHD, autism. Talks about who are going to be more affected by Irlen's and the process and things like that. Overall, it's a really good in-depth book. Highly recommend it. Like I said, if you have somebody that may have Irlen's, or if you think you might have it, try the screening on their website, and if you think you need more information, try to get the book. I think our screeners were probably just really nice because, like I said, our first screener gave us the book along with a packet of colored paper for what was good for our type of Irlen's and the colored sheets and stuff. You won't really, if you need glasses or the filters, you won't be able to get those until you see an actual diagnostician. Now, our diagnostician is in Houston, Texas. We are in Oklahoma, but she was the one that was most willing to work with us price-wise since we didn't have insurance. But this book also has like websites, different areas that you can use to try to find diagnosticians or screeners in your area. I also like that it also has like further resources, like especially for like ADHD, autism, and things like that. But anyway, for something that's not very known about, very recommend this. Like I said, screen on their website first. This book, not very big, about 212 pages in total. But the chapters are short, so it moves pretty quickly. And I would recommend it. Like I said, for those of you that think you might have it, or for those family members, partners, whatever, that you think might be suffering from it, have them check it out. Check it out yourselves. Because you would be surprised. They usually, and what they brought out is that a lot of the times, it has a good scientific basis, but also, like I said, it has a good mix of memoirs and stuff too, so that you can relate to other people that have it themselves. We like books that are a mix of personal story and scientific basis. Gives a good median of both. But yeah, like I said, we recommend that one. Ours was given to us, but we're going to look and post a link or two of where you can buy it yourself personally. I think you may be able to buy it off the Irlen website itself. But as I said, I'm not really for sure yet. We'll check it out and then post it down for you. But if there's a book in general that you would like us to review or anything like that, or if you think there's a way we can improve our videos, let us know. Comment, suggestions, concerns, whatever, or any other books that you think you would like us to do. You can also message us on our Instagram and Pinterest. We're usually pretty good about checking our stuff. But that is the end of this book review, and we hope it was helpful. And we'll see you guys for the next one. Bye.